Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to go down the path that Senator Manchin was going on earlier regarding coal. According to the Energy Information Administration, the U.S. produces about 1 billion tons of coal per year. And looking at the global numbers, it's about 8 billion tons annually. So we represent about 12% of the world's coal production. Said another way, 88% of the coal production in the world occurs outside the United States. And it looks like projections in the next 10 to 20 years, coal production globally will only increase, plus or minus. As you know, coal is an important fuel for electricity generation in Montana. In fact, more than 50% of our electricity in Montana comes from coal. I believe the national numbers are round numbers around 40%. It also provides good paying jobs for Montanans, including our tribal members. We had a field hearing on the Crow Reservation regarding coal production a couple weeks ago. It provides $120 million in tax revenues for our state, which supports our schools, our infrastructure. It also powers Midwest utilities. Gary Peters, the other new freshman senator, one of the 13 new freshman senators from Michigan, mentions the fact that it's coal coming from Montana. In fact, it powers Detroit Edison and powers our automobile manufacturing sector. So we are the Saudi Arabia of coal, globally speaking. We have more coal reserves than any other nation. In fact, Montana has the greatest number of coal reserves of any state in the United States. I'm just concerned in looking at the review and trying to make sure we achieve the right balance here of the all of the above energy portfolio. Clearly, a state like Montana, we have bright skies, we have solar potential, we have tremendous water resources and hydropower, we have great wind potential, but we also have oil, natural gas, and importantly, coal. There are 2 export terminals important to my state that are currently under review by the U.S. Army Corps, the Gateway Pacific Terminal and the Millennium Bulk Terminal. I was recently out one of those terminals with a member of the Boilermaker Union there in Montana, a tribal member, look at the importance of looking at coal exports. And lastly, look at the broader environmental picture. Montana coal and our U.S. coal, we actually have cleaner coal than many other countries around the world. So my question is, and I welcome the mention in the report, the review of our LNG exports that's been discussed earlier in the transmission corridors. But where do you see the priority looking at coal exports, given that the global coal production is going to increase over the next decade plus? I just don't see much emphasis or thought relating to coal exports. And where do you see that in our broader strategy?
Well, Senator, coal exports are not, frankly, something in the Department of Energy's purview. In fact, I believe a lot of the the Army Corps often has a role, but I think a lot of it also is state permitting and state EISs, et cetera. I do want to note that you mentioned the amount of coal, and China, of course, uses about roughly half of the world's coal use. And we expect that they will be peaking their coal use relatively soon. But still, there's a lot of coal being used, and we, of course, believe that carbon capture and sequestration, and often with EOR, is critical. I do want to note that the Department of Energy will be hosting the International Carbon Sequestration Leadership Forum, in Montana, I think in August, I believe it is, and we will be sure to get you that information for that meeting.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I know your review mentions the administration's federal infrastructure project permitting dashboard, and the review recommends expanding an online project tracking system. I guess as we look at the broader energy picture, and given that coal is still the #1 source of electricity in America, it's #1, and 51% is certainly in Montana. I would like to ask if you would consider perhaps adding tracking coal export projects as we look at the broader national energy infrastructure as a part of that equation. I think we all agree we want to continue to work to improve the outcomes here in terms of coal and coal-fired electricity, but the reality is it's our number one source of electricity and needs to be an important part of the portfolio.
We can look at that. I think coal exports, in fact, are now roughly 100 million tons, I believe, and so it's quite a large number.
Yeah, and we look at South Korea, Taiwan, Japan. They're relying on other countries like Indonesia and Australia. And again, back to this point, 88% of the coal production occurs outside the U.S. We have a chance to continue to grow jobs, tax revenues for our schools, or infrastructure by expanding our coal exports. And I think it's a way to keep electrical prices lower, as well as create jobs, tax revenues for our infrastructure.
Yeah, I actually have just now it was handed some of the words that we have on that. Actually, the East Coast ports are alone are shipping about 70 million tons, and the companies, it says here, quotes, companies that own and manage export terminals continue with long-range plans for expansion, focused on the potential for continued demand in Europe, Asia, and South America.
Yeah, and
so these are data that we will
Sure. So
look at.
I'm glad to see the East Coast. We'll just turn your attention perhaps to the West.
No, I understand.
Where a lot of where the coal is. Senator Barrasso here from Wyoming.
Right.
We have tremendous opportunities right now between Wyoming and Montana here, looking at West Coast opportunities. And getting back to where's the expansion occurring? Over in Asia. So these West Coast terminals become very, very important.
Yeah, understood.
Thank you.
And I recognize the low sulfur content.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.